Okay, this will be an interesting one. I've never seen this product either, and it's an interesting, I think it's aimed at children. So let's see how these look. If we can make it look an interesting piece of work we can work with. So I'm wondering if we're going to make it negative or we're going to just stick with positive for this. So yeah, let's see if we can make this one look good. Right, let's see what this one is and how big are we going to make it. We got here, it's called Jumpies, chicken flavoured crunchy potato snacks. I found this near a children's playground. Of course, the parents weren't so intelligent dealing with the rubbish that they left behind, so it was on the ground and I found it and I've souvenired it so I can make a demo. So whatever these silly people who leave their garbage behind, I sometimes souvenir their stuff. Now, wondering if we're going to make this, how big, it's a square shape, so maybe horizontally it's got to be longer. But basically, yeah, it's not a very good way of bringing up children, littering. That's one thing my parents told me not to do. Even though my parents weren't the greatest parents, although my mum and I have gotten closer with each other over the past few years, which is really good. So she's doing the right thing by me now. It's just my father who's a pain in the ass, and I'm not sure how I'm going to get on with my brother. But basically, one of the things I was brought up with in this not so functional family was not to litter. Both parents told me not to litter. So that was a good lesson taught, a very good lesson from them. And I appreciate it because it's good for the planet not to litter. Of course, we've got to think more about recycling as much as we can, considering it's not always easy and convenient to do so. And we've got to accept that, well, do we have to accept that we can't recycle everything, like these things, like this tinsel for Christmas, you know? Somehow there's got to be a way to deal with waste, because you can't just throw everything in the bin now. You've got to basically do the right thing and recycle, and that's not always as easy as it looks. Sometimes things have to be dismantled, totally dismantled before you can recycle them. So it's a real pain in the ass trying to separate the materials in packaging, for example. And what's even more important to recycle is electronics, because electronics contain heaps of toxic materials, and if they're left in landfill they could leach into the water supply or into your food chain, and then you could end up with all sorts of horrible diseases like lead poisoning and shit like that, mercury, cadmium, all sorts of shit that you don't want to have in your diet. It's not good. It's not good at all. Now I'm wondering what we're going to do with this. If we're going to make it negative or we're going to keep it positive. Let's see what we're going to do with this thing. I wonder if we're going to make this a more blue shaded thing. We're going to have to use brightness instead of copy density now. So we're just going to darken it. Just going to darken it a little bit. See how we go. We didn't use negative positive, that's right. Let's see how we go with this. All right. Okay, that looks nice actually. Maybe the bit of blue has made it look better. So now we're just going to assemble this as a mirror image. The borders out there are a little bit thick, but we're interested in the middle, so we can ignore that part of the image. So I'm just trying to make a bit of room here. So Jumpies. I've never seen these before. Sometimes I find quite a few things that I've never seen that are not terribly familiar. Okay, out comes the second part of our Jumpies demo. But obviously these are aimed at children. Little kangaroo on the front. It's obviously, you'd hope it was Australian owned and made because of the kangaroo, but so many things are made offshore these days. It's not fucking funny. It's not good for Australia. It's not even good for the people in China, because a lot of things are manufactured in China, and often usually the labour's cheap, and they get exploited by countries like Australia or the USA. But then we lose out because we have less manufacturing jobs on our shores, and these companies, especially big companies, just love to offshore everything, and it's just not right, no? But what can we do? Nothing. We can do nothing. We just have to hope that people who manufacture things that there'll be some new people who make new companies. I mean, I want to build a photocopier that's artificially intelligent, and I want to make sure all the labour is on our shores, even if it costs a bit more than offshoring it. I want to give people jobs, and I want to pay people fairly. But that's the future, folks. That's not now. We have to deal with now, which is not easy. But anyway, that looks quite nice. I think now we can call it quits.